Hi, welcome to Global Attributes. Today's in HTML5 session we will discuss about what are the attributes which are new attributes which are applicable to all the elements and tags in HTML5. First we will understand that the attribute which is called content editable. What it means is that you can declare whether the content is editable or not by declaring this attributes for any element or tag. The next most important thing is that we can declare a context menu for any tag in your HTML5. What it means is that when user will do a right click on the tag, a small helpful context menu will be pop up. So which is very helpful because number of times you might want to declare a element or tag in HTML page and user is not very clear that what exactly this input button will do or the text box will do. For that you can declare a context menu itself. Another attribute is draggable. So what this attribute says is that whether you can drag a tag or not in HTML5, which is very helpful for some time. Next one is drop zone. What this attribute of HTML5 does is that it allows you to declare whether that drag data is copied, moved or linked when dropped. Most important is this guy hidden. What it means is that you can declare any tag whether it is required to be displayed or not. So logically what you can do is that you can make it invisible so that it is no longer visible and relevant. Most important is this guy which was not there and that was very important called spell check. Now in HTML5 you are comfortably can say that this tag have to have its spelling and grammar checked or not. So if you say spell check, declare the spell check is true, then the spelling and grammar for that tag will be checked in HTML5 by the browser. Who will do all of this? All of these will be done by the browser itself. So browser will take care of all of this. Browser has a HTML5 renderer which will take care of this. These are the new feature. So you can use hidden, you can use spell check, and these two are the most important one which is there in HTML5. So please take advantage of this new attribute and you can make your HTML5 much more robust and useful for the user. Now we will see that what are the new tags which have been included. So far we have discussed about forms, input elements and global attributes and the document structure as well. The next one topic is new tags and elements. So these are basically new tags and elements of HTML5. Now let us see what are the new tags and elements which have been introduced in HTML5. The one of them is called data list, which we have seen when we declared the browser. There is a keygen, output, Ruby, RT and RP, WBR, embed, command, details, article, aside, figure, footer, header, H group, nav, section, mark, meter, progress, time, canvas and video. So these are the various new tags, and when I say tag it means element. So don't confuse between both of them, both are same thing. Okay. So now let us understand that we are not going to go through each of the elements and tags because it might take a lot of duration and time, but we'll definitely focus on some of the important one. So the important one where we will focus and learn and understand how to use them is the one with the green color called article, figure. These are the important ones which are used by HTML5 developers. So these are the ones which we will develop, which we will see with a various example and use cases. So let us see that how these new elements and tags you can use in your HTML5 web pages or website which you develop. Now there are few elements which has been changed in HTML5 which were there in HTML4, but there have been small changes in those elements and tags. First is A. Now it can now wrap around block elements. So this is a small change in A as an anchor. B and I, bold and italic, are back. Now you can use them. Define to be the title of a work. HR is now a paragraph level thematic break. Small is for a small print legal boilerplate. Now let us see, there are a few tags which are there and changed. Now what we will do is that we will see another one called a website called quakit.com/html_5/tags. Why I am mentioning about this website? Because based on my experience working with HTML5, I have seen lot of websites, and if somebody is trying to learn HTML5, this website is one of the best website which I recommend strongly to the user learning HTML5, that after you go through our video, you could go there and practice each of the HTML5 tags. So this is very important, and please go and read it and practice using this website. One of the best website to refer for HTML5 tags and test the tags. Okay. Now there are few elements or tags which have been removed in HTML5. One of them is called base font, big, center, font, strike. Remember, these are the tags. As an attribute, these are not the attribute, these are the tags. So we have removed that elements and tags. Frame, frame set, because frame and frame set do not work very well with different display options like mobile, desktop, tablet and iPad. So we have just removed that, this one. Applet is now called object, acronym is now called ABBR. We know why the applet is used, that is for Java applet. Now let us understand that before HTML5, how we were using the when we were trying to write a document or a long document or a blog or about a company, how we were writing. So we used to take the help of div. So what we will do is that we will call a div any name. So first we will declare one div. This is the old structure. Okay, this is the pre-HTML5. Before HTML4, this is the way we used to do for this one. Okay, pre-HTML5. This is all pre-HTML5, and then we'll put whatever I want to do it, and inside that header I will create, inside that div, this is div, inside this div I will create another div called nav, and then I will declare some text there, and I will create some list. So here is the list we are creating. So this is the list we created. Okay, so inside this div we created another div and we put some link out there, and then we can close this div. So we close this div here, and then we close this div header, and then what happens is that after that you can start creating a sidebar div, and you can create another div called article, and then inside the article you will write whatever article you want to write. So basically the point was that I was creating one div, one div, one div, but based on this, just because it is all based on div and div, somebody who is trying to read this document and trying to manipulate it for a different device or for a voice translation, it is very difficult, because you can name this ID anything. I can say my header, somebody can say some header. So it was all div based structure, div, all div, div, div. So basically the whole page you were dividing into various parts called header, sidebar, menu, article, by creating a different div. That was fine, but what happens if somebody develops a software or somebody develops a another audio software which will read this page and try to understand what exactly is this. So based on this, it is very difficult to find out, because anything you can put here, anything you can put here, anything you can put here. So you don't know whether it is really header, really sidebar, or really article or not. All will look like a just 3 div, which is not very easy to understand from accessibility perspective or from manipulation perspective. Sorry, not this one, this one. Okay. And then you can create another div called footer, and looks like this. So I have 3 div, 4 div, 1, 2, 3 and 4 div, and inside first div there is 1 div. So it is all div based structure of HTML document. Now in HTML5, what they have done is that they have gone away from this concept, and now they have introduced a special tag so that you don't have to use div, and anybody can see the HTML document and figure out which part is exactly header, which part is exactly footer, which part is exactly the main body, and which part is the sidebar, which part is the navigation. How can you figure out from HTML document? Because you remember, this ID is anything it can be. So if I put something else, you can't figure out what is what. But in HTML5, there is a way that you can figure out. We'll see it how. So this is old HTML4 style. This is HTML4 style. Okay. Just put some div and div. Now in HTML5, they have introduced new tag called header. What it means is that the moment you use the tag itself as a header, it will understand that it is the header of the document. H-group is header tag is intended to usually contain the section's heading, and inside that you can put H1 to H6 tags or H-group tag, but this is not required. The header element can also be used to wrap a section's table of contents, a search form, or any relevant logos. So now header tag is very important and useful tag. Inside that you can put table of contents, search form and relevant logos, and anybody else, any other software or translation software or conversion software or speech recognition software can understand and translate the data properly, because it will understand, oh, it is header, so let us do it this way. Now H-group tag is used for defining the header of an HTML document or section. Defining the header of an HTML document or section. More specifically, it is used to group a set of elements when the heading has multiple levels, such as subheading or alternative title or tagline. So that is what H-group. It is used for mainly for subheading creation. So this is called H-group. Now there is another tag which is new tag called nav. The nav tag is especially created so that you can declare a navigational section of HTML document. What it means is that, if you remember in the previous one here, you were declaring all the navigation under a div, but if I give some other name, some nav, you cannot say that it is exactly navigation or not. But here they have included a new tag called nav. Inside that you should declare all the navigational section of the document. And important thing to note is that links, if you want to put the links inside the footer section, then that should go inside the footer tags, not inside the nav tags. So navigational part sometime is put in header, always it is put in header part, but sometimes it is put in the footer as well. So if you want to put a navigational segment in the footer, don't put that inside the nav, put it inside the footer. Aside is a very interesting and new tag. What it says is that it is used to represent, let us assume you write some article, and about that in brief you want to write some 3-4 lines on the side of the article. So what it is used, that it is used to represent content that is related to the surrounding content within an article or web page, but could still stand alone in its own right. This type of content is often represented in sidebars. So it is used for creating a sidebar in an article in HTML5. Now let us see one example. What we will see is that we will see an example of HTML5 using header, nav and footer. So what we will do is that we will start with our standard doc type HTML. We will declare one title called HTML5 using header, footer and nav. So this is I think the footer. So it will be footer. So this is footer, not future. Sorry for typo. And then we will start with our body. Okay. So in the body, what we will do is that first we will declare one header tag, and then we will start a H group to organize our first header called Tales of O, another title, another H2 level text called the Never Ending Saga, something like that, and then we will close this H group. So what it means is that inside header I have created one header. If I have another H group, it will be two header. So this is one header which I have created, and then inside header I have created another nav. So see, inside header I am creating a nav tag. Here what I will do is that I will just say navigation as a text, and then I will create all the navigation link what I want here. So I am going to start with one link called page 1, that is 1.html, that is just one navigational link. It is like a menu item or navigation item. Page 2, page 3, close, and close the nav. So what I have done is that I have created one navigation nav based tag element here and declared all of this, and this is still inside this header. Okay. And then I close the header. So what I did is that I created one header, and inside this header, see, this is the header I have created, and inside this header I have a nav element. This is the way you should create header and nav element or tag. And then I will start my standard article or the main article which I am trying to write. So inside that article I will write something, whatever I want to write, and close the article. And then what I will do is that I will create footer. So once I have done with this article thing, whatever I want, I should create a footer, and this is where I start with a footer tag and put whatever like copyright or anything you want to put it in the footer, you put, and close the footer. After you close the footer, you close the body and close with the HTML, and that's pretty much it. So using the header, nav and footer in HTML5 is very simple. You can just declare like this the way I am doing it, and it will do it. Now once I create this HTML page, you can try it out in your own computer, and if you try to run, it should look something like this. Okay, so Tales of O, the never ending saga continues, navigation, page 1, page 2, page 3, stagnant air, staircase, it was a dark and stormy night, and then there is a footer. So if you see that, it is very simple. This is the part which takes care of the complete header. Okay. This is the part which is taken care by the header, and this is the part which is your article, and this is the part which is your footer. So basically very simple. Declare header, inside that declare the text for the H group. If there is one, so one and then subsection, then put the navigation, this one, and then put the article, and then put the footer. So using this, it is very easy to structure something, and if somebody reads that HTML page, he can figure out very quickly which part is header, which part is the main, which part is the footer. It does not depend on any attributes value or any ID's value or anything. The document itself is very semantic. This is called semantic way of putting information. So this solves two problems. One is accessibility, and other problem it solves is semantic. It is more semantic because you can understand what is written from an XML document in this way. Otherwise, it is very difficult to understand what is written in the HTML5 document. Okay? And this one look like this one. So, header, H group, nav, article, section, footer, and this is the thing which I was saying, that sidebar. So, this is used for representing something about the article. If you want to write something here, you can put it here. Now, let us see a tag called section. How do you use the section tag? Now, section tag is very simple. It is used to organize a paragraph of information one under other. So, you can do a nested way of. So, let us assume inside the article, it is a 200-page article. Now, 200 lines article. Now, you don't want to write all the articles into one. So, article will have a section. Inside that, it will have a subsection. Subsection will have another subsection or so. So, let us see how to use this. Section tag will start like this. Declare HTML, head, title and body. Inside body, what I am going to do is that I am going to declare section. So, section will have something like, first section will call learning HTML5. Inside that, I will declare another section called HTML5 basics. Inside that, I will declare another section called new elements in HTML5. And then I will put a section called canvas is new element in HTML5. So, if you see here, we are coming here nesting the sections one after one inside another. Okay. So, inside this way, and then after that we will write whatever I want to write here and then start closing the section. So, inside this section called new elements in HTML5, I have two sections. One is called this one and other is called end of new element in HTML5. So, there are two sections. Okay. So, this one is closed here and you are just, this is not a new section, it is just a text here. This is closed here and then keep closing here another. So, what it shows is that how you can nest a section inside section and structure the flow of information in HTML5. Now, after this I will just close the body and HTML. So, if you see here, this is one HTML, one section, another section, another section, another section. So, it is a way to structure the information inside another information, so that when the HTML5 is visible in the website, web browser, it will look little structured way. Now, if I run this HTML5 document in my web browser, how does it look like? So, let us see that, see how it looks like. So, basically what it says is that this is the top level, learning HTML5, HTML5 basics, new element in HTML5. So, whatever this section came, this section is this guy. Okay. Now, this section comes here, this section comes here, this section comes for this one, and this one is just a this one. Okay. So, this is the way you can structure the flow and nesting of the HTML5 section tag, and very important and useful tag for using section in your HTML document. Okay.